Life Management Science Labs would like to acknowledge that we live and produce this podcast on the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri people. We'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands of our listeners and our international colleagues. We'd like to pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Hey everyone, and welcome to Raising Parents, the Parenting Science Insights podcast, produced by Ella Massell, the Life Management Science Labs. We are champions of life management science, providing structured insights informed by science and inspired by practice on key aspects of conscious living. Each week, we bring you scientific and practical insights on each element with the expert knowledge of professionals in the field. I'm your host, Dina Sargent. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Parenting is such a turbulent journey, often placing the parent-child relationship at the forefront of parents' lives. This tends to result in the parent-partner relationship taking a backseat. We've all heard stories where parents wind up neglecting their intimacy and drift apart. But did you know that the quality of the parent-partner relationship can also be a huge contributor to overall family dynamics? In this episode, we're looking at the interconnectedness of these relationships and how a strong partnership can result in better parenting. And guiding us through this conversation is psychotherapist Kara Hoppe, who has a passion for helping parents partner better. Having spent more than a decade working with individuals and couples toward healing, growing, and becoming grounded, Kara is also the co-author of Baby Bomb, a relationship survival guide for new parents. So welcome to the show, Kara. We are so excited to have your expertise with us today.
Thanks, Marie. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. So before we get into things, at the start of your career, you were originally in journalism, and I just want to know a little bit more about you. What inspired you to go deeper into the therapy route?
Yes, I started out my career or my adult life as a journalist and as a writer. Which obviously I still write, hence the book Baby Bomb. But I think the archetype of a wounded healer is what brought me into being a therapist. Finding my own therapy in my 20s to be so beneficial, essential really to my overall well-being that I was like, I want to do that, continue to do it for myself, but also help other people. So that was what drew me into getting my master's in clinical psychology.
Yeah. And what have you learned along the way?
I guess the more I've learned, the more I just don't know. I mean that sincerely. Yeah, maybe to learn to be with the mystery a bit more, with a bit more ease. But yeah, countless things. I mean, I've gotten to work with hundreds of people over the course of the last 15 years, and everybody has taught me something.
Yeah, that's so accurate. I find that as well. The older I get, the more that I realize I don't know. And yeah, and it used to be uncomfortable, the feeling of not knowing a lot of things, but now it's just more of comfortable curiosity. Would you describe that that was your experience as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's so
okay.
liberating to say I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like a great preface for our topic for today. But before we get further into detail, I would love to get to know you better. So this is Have You Met Kara? Kara. I say Kara, you say Kara. I'm gonna try and say Kara.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you met Kara? The first question I have for you is, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Honestly, I hang out with my kids a lot. So I play goofy games. I play soccer. Last weekend we went camping. Yeah, I clock a lot of hours with those two people.
Well, that's comforting to hear, considering that you have two children. That is something that we do get a lot with guests who are also parents, and that totally makes sense. I wouldn't wish otherwise. Are there any favorite activities that you really, really enjoy doing with your kids?
Let's see. I mean, I like to play dress up with my daughter, probably soccer with my son. Actually playing soccer with both of them. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. Is pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
pretty fun people.
yeah. Oh, that's so nice. That's a pretty that's a sizable age gap.
2 and 7.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a brother who is 6 years younger than me as well. Okay, so that's actually bigger of an age gap. I didn't realize
But
that. I
it's
don't know.
really close.
Yeah.
5 and
Yeah.
6 are like really close.
Yeah. And do they get along well at all, or do you have to like get them together? Do they have arguments with each other?
Well, they do argue for
Mhm.
sure. They
Yeah.
are siblings,
Yeah.
but they're also obsessed with each other.
Oh, that's so sweet. And let me guess, do they wish, like, never let anyone know that they're obsessed with each other?
No, everybody knows it.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah, like
nice.
when we were camping last weekend, Jude, my 7-year-old, was scrambling up some rocks, and Dion, my 2-year-old, was like, missed him and was like, Jude, Jude, Jude. And so he scrambled down in front of all of his friends, and they were all on the top of the rock, and scrambled down and gave her a hug and a kiss, and then scrambled back up. So they're not embarrassed of their love.
Oh, that is too sweet. I can't say the same for me and my siblings. Like my younger brother, the one who's 6 years younger than me, yeah, he only ever comes to visit me when he wants to get away from the city, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I wonder why that is. Do you think that's something to do with parenting?
Maybe. I mean, everybody has. I can only speak from my own experience, and the 5-year age gap has been really a gift for us because my husband, Charlie, and I were able to really spend a lot of QT time with both of them because of the age gap and because their needs are so different from the age gap. And so I don't know if that has something to do with them not feeling like competitive with each other over Charlie and I. I don't know. I would like to say it's parenting, but it also, I think it's just luck of the draw.
Yeah, it probably heavily depends on the personalities of the children. Yeah, so true. Yeah, and are there any activities that you have missed doing since you had children?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to have a really beautiful art practice. After I gave birth to Jude, my oldest, 7 years ago, I felt a lot of grief about that. My art studio became his bedroom, so it was really like symbolic about that part of me being turned off for the time being or dormant.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's kind of sweet that, well, you still have, well, pretty much the bones of your art studio. And do you ever go into the room and think or reflect about what your past life was like?
Yeah, I do that. Not in that room specifically because we've moved houses, but I do think about what my past life was like. But then I have to tell you, last year I had a really incredible experience that I felt was like a real integration or merging of my past life with my parenting life. Charlie and I, and Charlie's my husband, we took our kids to a local music festival for 3 days and rented an RV and went with a bunch of other families. So there was just rock and roll and tons of other kids there too. And Charlie and I used to go to festivals all the time before we had kids, but then it was so, I don't know. It honestly felt sacred bringing them and sharing that experience with them, and then like seeing live music, something we love so much, and sharing it with them, and having, I wasn't there primarily as somebody like that's rocking out to the music. I was there as a mother, and that was a really beautiful experience for me.
That does sound incredible. And did your kids enjoy it?
Yes. They can't wait for next spring when we go to All Summer's Eve again. Jude, Dion, my 2-year-old, is like, she doesn't even know, but Jude's like, I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. And you mentioned that you are a writer. You seem like you're really, really passionate about that as well. And about with the wounded healing, it sounds like you're very passionate about writing and about therapy. So are there any role models that you've had either professionally or personally?
Yeah. I mean, Stan Tacken, my co-author, he's a friend, but also a mentor. And I looked up to him. I have learned so much from him.
Yeah.
And I just did this delicious training with Elua Arthur. I don't know if you know her, but she's also an author. She wrote a book, Briefly Perfectly Human, that's just phenomenal. I cannot recommend it enough. And having trained with her, I was like, I'm looking up to her. She's incredible.
Yeah. And what would you say are the most admirable traits about your role models or the people who inspired you?
Their authenticity, their vulnerability, their generosity of spirit, their intelligence, their ability to be a conduit to sharing big ideas and making it accessible for other people.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like authenticity is something that I've always struggled my entire life to wrap my head around, and I'm always questioning as well. And whenever I see someone like that, it really does
draw you in.
Yeah, it does draw me in, and it definitely leaves a mark. So yeah, that's really nice to hear that you have such people in your life. Now, my last question for you before we go into the interview is what's the biggest lesson you've learned as a parent?
That it all ends.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, being a parent is such it's a check with your mortality. You see your mortality through your children. I can speak from my own experience. I see my mortality through my children. There's so much, so many phases that come and go. It actually really blows my mind. When I first became a parent, I just thought it was going to be 24/7 nursing. And I was like, so this is motherhood. Okay. And then, that was 7.5 years ago. And motherhood has become, it's such a wild, vast territory full of so many beginnings and so many endings with themselves, the ending of breastfeeding, of nursing, but like wearing diapers, the beginning of school, the beginning when they talk, when they walk, the last time they crawl. You don't know that's the last time. You don't know they're about to walk. It's such a dynamic experience to be witness to so many births and deaths within your own child again and again and again.
Yeah, it does sound terrifying and changing all the time, ever changing. Every single phase, there's the new lessons to be learned, there's new territory. And I can't speak for myself because I'm not a parent, but I do witness that with my parents and my youngest brother, who is 10 years younger than me, and watching him grow up. But I've never been there from a parenting perspective, so I can only imagine it's just so much larger than I ever experienced it being. But yeah, that's a great preface for our topic for today as well. And I think it's a great point to jump right into the interview. So for starters, what do you think parenting is?
Gosh, it's making a lot of lunches. Um, I mean, I'm trying to raise two good citizens. So it's a lot of teaching, guiding, a lot of witnessing, a lot of parenting is a lot of letting go, like I said, to different stages and welcoming in new stages. Constant attunement to these two people. I guess it may be easier to wonder what parenting's not, since it's so epic, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And what do you think parenting is not?
Well, it's unfortunately it's not fixing their struggles in life. That's not part of parenting. I've learned when my son is or my daughter when they're struggling with something, I just get to be there with them and hold space with them and hear about their struggle and talk about it with them. But at the end of the day, especially my son who is in the world more. He's in elementary school. He has friends. He has successes. He has failures. All these different things impact him. And I guess I thought as a parent, I could like protect him more, but that's not, I mean, there is obviously a certain amount of protection in parenting, but there's a lot of vulnerability in it.
Yeah. And do you think this is something that expectant parents need to be aware of in the transition to parenthood?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, you know, when you're expecting to be a parent, it's such a precious time. And like I said before, like, a few moments ago, it ends. And then you are a parent and then you have to figure out like what that means to you. But would it be helpful to say all of these phases end? I think so, especially when at the beginning it can feel, especially with the beginning with your first, it can feel so permanent. Like especially if your baby's struggling with colic or struggling to latch, if you're trying to breastfeed, any kind of things you can think, oh my God, like this is parenting. So I think it is helpful to say to expecting parents, it, the hard parts do end, and so do the wonderful parts, replaced by more wonderful parts and different hard parts.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like such a tumultuous time.
You think so?
Well, I'm not a parent for a reason. Like, I imagine it's really rewarding, but I also imagine it to have so many trials and tribulations. And I just imagine myself to be that parent who is in desperate need of therapy. Like always blaming themselves for something that potentially went wrong, or what's perceived to be wrong in a child's life. It just sounds like so much to me. So parents are just, I genuinely don't know how you guys do it. It's amazing. But more to the topic, what do you think co-parenting is? What does it mean to you?
I think it's a mutual respect for each other's different relationships that you have with your child or children. The relationship I have with both of my kids is not the same relationship, obviously, that my husband has. And that can be hard sometimes to watch somebody do try something out with your kids that you're like, I wouldn't have done that, but that's really not for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for me to jump in. So I think a level of mutual respect with your partner is a really critical part about it. Like continual communication about what you think is working and what's not working, sharing notes. I did this and this is how this went. I did this. This is how this went. I think it's also really important that you and your partner are are tending to the safety and security of your relationship, that each partner feels safe being vulnerable and saying, like, I'm in over my head. I need help. This isn't working. I made a mistake. I didn't like how I handled this. And, any of those things. And you can listen with humility, knowing that you don't know everything either, and like collaborate and not kick somebody when they're down. Because parenting is really hard. And there are like moments of parenting fails. Like whenever I raise my voice, I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really important that I feel safe enough with Charlie to process it and tell him about it. I would say that that's co-parenting to me.
Yeah. And what are the potential risks or challenges that may arise in the larger family unit when the partnership between parents is kind of neglected?
I mean, I think the well-being of both partners are feeling it. Partners are people. Everybody wants to feel special and cherished and important and valuable. And if partners aren't offering that to one another, there is a tendency to ask that from the children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one danger of it, is like a parentification of the kids. But it's also the kids like will notice,
Mm-hmm.
And, Stan, my co-author, had this beautiful quote saying that parenting is theater. And it is. It's like your kids won't always listen to what you say, but God damn it, they will copy what you do. And so as parents, as partners who are parents, you're modeling for them what partnership is day in and day out. And so if you're neglecting your partnership, that's what they think is how they are going to do that. They think that that's the way that it goes. Mom and dad, or mom and mom, or dad and dad, they don't talk with each other. That's normal to them. And then you have to wonder, is that what you want? Is that like a legacy that you want to instill in your children to grow up and think that this is what partnership is?
Yeah.
It might sound ominous, like hearing me say it about like parentification of children or like modeling, but in parenting, there is a lot at stake. It is a huge responsibility to bring people into the world and help them, nurture them to grow and to be good citizens. It does require thoughtfulness and intention. And so I guess I want to say to the listeners, if you're not putting your partnership first, like, please don't walk away from this podcast thinking you're a terrible parent. Like, you're not. And you can always change. And you know what? If you decide to listen to this podcast and you decide to like want to try some new things in your partnership, you can try them. And then you know what else? You can tell your kids, we're trying something new. We're going to spend more time together. We're going to be doing this more collaboratively. You can like let them in on like what you're changing, and how cool for them to watch you grow and change as an individual. So I guess I just wanted to hit that note too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do agree with you there on the point of sounding ominous, but I feel like regardless, it's all the more necessary to talk about, because in many situations it's very covert. You don't notice it happening in the family unit or within partners until the kids have grown up or something like that, and you don't realize that it's happened in the kids' childhood. And it's never too late to start. And people just always kind of think, well, this is how things have always been done, so let's continue doing it. And that's how generational trauma also happens as well. So I just wanted to hit that point as well. But what are the potential benefits to having a strong partnership within parents?
Well, the more safety and security you can offer your partner, and the more safety and security you can offer, or they can offer you, it's mutual, right? We need both partners taking care of one another. The more resourced you are to offer that to your children. And then, of course, if you're thinking about it like a generational trauma or a legacy piece, you're instilling in them an idea, a concept, like a living idea and concept, because you're embodying it, of what good partnership is. And I think that is such a wonderful thing to offer your children, for your children to watch you have conflict together and have resolution to that conflict and love each other throughout the whole thing. That's a real generational gift.
Yeah. Yeah. And teaching your children how to love and pass on that to whomever they will love in the future. That's really the best gift that you can give to your child. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was also parenting styles. Very different people have different parenting styles and approaches to parenting, and this stays true for co-parents. So how would you recommend navigating those differences? Because, sometimes, like, you mentioned at the start of the podcast how you may be potentially disapproving of what your partner would want to do with your kids. So how would you recommend navigating all of that and aligning kind of the values that you perceive to be ideal?
Right. Well, it's complicated, right? Because
Yeah.
people usually parent how they were parented. So it's a tender issue. So if you're going to say to your partner, I don't like the way that you did X, chances are X was done to them. So I say that because that's something that partners don't think about when they're offering feedback, is like the tenderness and the vulnerability in it. So you want to communicate in a resourced way, so not out of anger. You want to say, obviously, I want to talk to you about something, and say, I noticed this. Did you notice it? You want to be collaborative in the language you're using with your partner. You say co-parent, I'm thinking partner. But it's the same thing, partner and co-parent. You want to be collaborative. And you want to listen to them. What were you thinking? Like, why did you think that this would work? Or how did it go? Like, almost like it's like a brainstorming sesh. Because who knows, maybe I perceived it the wrong way. And there was a reason from something that happened earlier in the day that was for this. I don't know. So I guess coming into it with trust in the other person, inherently an awareness of the tenderness and vulnerability of the being a parent, and just wanting to be collaborative about it. I mean, I think you can have two parents have two different parenting styles, and find ways to do that in harmony. It's tricky, of course, because one person's parenting style can be really activating to another person and vice versa. But I don't think it's something that two people can't talk through together. And you might need the help of, we offer a lot of different exercises in our book, Baby Bomb, but you might need a couple therapists too to help you in those especially sticky spots.
Yeah. And I also imagine
I want to say one other thing
sure.
about it. You don't want to do that in front of your kid or kids. The conversations about your partner's parenting styles or their partner parenting interventions should be done behind the scenes, because you don't want your kid to feel like they caused some kind of disagreement between their parents. That would be a terrible feeling for a child. So you want to protect your kid from that.
And I also imagine that co-parenting and trying to align values within the family unit and displaying trust and vulnerability and all of the kind of stuff comes with use of language as well. How important is it in conflict resolution when it comes to co-parenting?
What do you mean use of language?
The way you phrase things, like, for example, if you disagree with what your partner has done with the kids, it's how the way that you put things across, like instead of saying, this is wrong, I told you not to do this, and just immediately go into a fight. How important is it to be mindful of the words that you use?
Right. Okay. I hear what you're saying, Marie. I mean, it's incredibly important. And also, how you're saying it is really important. Like I said, I don't think it's a good idea to do it in front of your children. It's also best to do it if you can face to face, eye to eye, so you can watch each other and see how the reaction is or what the reaction is to whatever you're saying is on your co-parent's face or your partner's face. You want to use I statements. And of course, stay away from shaming and criticizing, because nobody benefits from shame. Shame is not a way to get somebody to change their behavior.
Yeah. And what do you mean by I statements?
I noticed that I felt activated when you were telling Jude. I mean, I can't remember an example from my life right off the top of my head, but I noticed, or I didn't like it. I'm not saying you did something wrong. I'm owning my own experience. I felt anxious when you decided to do X. I felt irritated. Those are all I statements, because I'm owning my experience. I'm not saying you could have killed him,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really extreme, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we do see that kind of language being used a lot in media and TV, movies, and that's also partially where we learn these behaviors. So it's really important to distinguish that, how, like, what kind of language you should be using to real people in real life, because it's good for the drama, but it is for entertainment. It is drama. Now, on the lighter side of things.
But wait, Marie, let me go back to that for just a second. Because the thing is like, if you imagine like to have like a confrontation with your partner about something they did that you didn't like. But imagine at the end of that confrontation, you want the resolution not to be necessarily a change in their behavior, but a better understanding of them, and them to have a better understanding of you. That's a different goal than being like, I need to stop my partner from doing X.
Yeah.
Like, the goal is not necessarily about them doing anything differently. It's about a more of a collaboration of two people coming together that have a shared goal. At the end of this, we are still partners first and foremost. We love each other. We respect each other. We care about each other. We're each other's biggest cheerleaders. That's like the best place to come at that kind of conversation, and it might even help to do like set an intention before you talk to them. Just recognize this is going to be a difficult conversation, and to maybe remind yourself, we're on the same team. I didn't like what they did, and we're still in the same team, and I love them. And I know at the end of this, our love will be stronger. I mean, that's like really Pollyanna. And I know how partners, I know how little time we all have with each other to do these kind of things. I am aware of the reality of it. I have 2 small children, and my husband and I both work full time. And if you get into the practice of it, of making these kind of tweaks in your relationship, it does become, you do build some muscle memory about it. You maybe in a year of doing this, you'll find yourself just naturally using I statements and naturally coming up with creative solutions together. And that's possible. I just want to present this to the listeners as like, it's not like a quick fix. And I understand that I'm coming at it from a very idealized point of view and that working parents are busy.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's very much like building a habit.
Yes, exactly, Marie. That's a good way of putting it. It's building a new habit. It's bringing a new skill set into your partnership by recognizing the love that created these humans and like really cherishing that love and tending to that love. And you tend to that love by being kind in your criticism.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even without kids, do struggle to remember to use I statements in my own relationship. But I suppose um the the thing about building habits is to find whatever practice that you can do that will support building your habits. So for example, having a sticky note on your computer, or having like some kind of phone screen that reminds you to use, which might be annoying to have your phone screen show that all the time, but it doesn't have to be obvious. It can be just obvious to you, not to other people. That's that's besides the point. But yeah, you did mention that it is very important to close and open with intention and close with, reminding each other of your love for each other. And similarly, there'll be points in parenthood where there are real big successes for the kids and the parents alike. So how important is it to really take the time to celebrate those?
I think it's essential. I mean, that's also vulnerable to say this is working really well. I really like how you did this. I really like how I did this. I'm proud of myself for that. That's also an act of vulnerability. It's so great for the kids to see you do that too. And to like high five each other. This turned around. We stayed with it and he seems to be benefiting. He being like the child. Yeah, I think it's really important to celebrate the wins, Marie.
Yeah. I mean, like you said at the start of the interview, people want to be valued, and that positive reinforcement sounds like it would really, really help with that. So I would love to talk about some practices and habits now. What is a habit that you would recommend practicing to strengthen intimacy in a parent-partner relationship?
You got to be fast. I mean, somebody's working. I mean, parenting is work. So these have to be like simple. I don't think grand gestures are really appropriate at this life stage. So I think every time you can slow down and make eye contact with your partner, smile at them, tell them that they love you, tell them that there's something that you appreciate about them specifically, and make it as personal as possible, and pepper as many of those things into your day. I think that is like a really good habit to build. Recently I went on a retreat and came home and said to Charlie, I was like, I want us to cherish us more. Like, we're really lucky. We really love each other. And I want to act like accordingly on that with you, and kind of just set like a really broad, ambiguous intention like that. But he responded really well to it. And there's been like these little subtle things, and all of those things like fill up your cup. I mean, it's great to go have like a date night, to not talk about the kids, to talk about like your creativity, what books you are liking, podcasts, like some of the questions you asked me, to like catch up with each other about that as the people you are. I think it's also really fun for parents to do like an activity together, like pickleball, bowling, tennis, something where you're having to like not compete with each other, but collaborate with each other where the stakes are low, like bowling,
Yeah.
It's important for partners to play with each other.
Yeah, that's so true. And I imagine that it must be really difficult to find the time to go on a date night, even if it's a casual one. And so the slowing down, making eye contact throughout the day sounds like a terrific habit to build. But it sounds like it would take time to remember to do these things as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a muscle memory thing. We wrote in Baby Bomb, like ways to ritualize it by waking up in the morning and not looking at your phone, but turning towards each other and just saying, I love you.
That's a good one.
It's so simple, but it's like,
it is. Because I mean, right now with all of our phones, the default ritual when we wake up in the morning is to look at it, because it also doubles as our alarm clocks now. So, and then we just automatically get so consumed by all of the news, what's going on, messages to catch up on. And it's so simple that I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just I can't believe that not more people do this. I mean, like, actually, I can't speak for the entire universe, but it's definitely not something that I thought of before. And is this something that you practice as well?
Yeah, we check in with each other before we look at our phones. And we also have a good night ritual. I'm usually like the first one to go to bed. We don't go to bed at the same time. And so Charlie will come in and like, I mean, it's like tuck me in, but basically he just comes in when I'm like in bed already and says good night to me. And then sometimes we say something about the day that we're grateful for or like something. Sometimes it's a struggle, but we connect with each other. It's the first thing in the day, and the last thing in the day is bookend with that connection. And
Yeah.
that brings a lot of safety and security just in and of itself, of like knowing that I can count on those connection times.
Yeah, that sounds great. This actually reminds me of this ritual that I saw the Kardashians doing on their reality show, which, by the way, not endorsing the Kardashians, it's just something I watch for entertainment. But it is something that I saw them do, which is the peak and the pit. And they go around, everybody answers, shares what their peak in the pit of their week or day was. And it sounds like a great exercise to just, default prompt. You don't have to think about the specific questions to ask, which I know sounds quite morbid now. Like, oh my God, you can't even spare a few seconds to think about a specific question to ask your partner. But genuinely, sometimes days are really, really strenuous, and having that default prompt is just great support.
Yeah, I think that's a good
Yeah.
way to call it. It's just support. It's a
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I learned so much from you. I think this will be a great place to go into the open mic section where you have the floor to talk about anything that you're passionate about, and it doesn't have to be related to the topic. So take it away.
Thanks, Marie. Well, I am passionate about grief. As I mentioned, I think there's a lot of grief in parenthood, but I think there's a lot of grief in being a human being. And so, anyway, I'm very keen on bringing that more into my work with my couples and individuals, a recognition of grief, whether it's about a relationship, a life stage, a job, a person, from death or from estrangement. I think so much of our anxiety is unfelt grief. So I'm in a deep dive of reverence for grief, actually.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, not that it sounds like it's a poor choice of words because that's grief. Like I'm really into grief right now. That's wonderful. But yeah, truly it is, because I feel like a lot of people, I mean, well, it's not as widely recognized as something to pay attention to. Um and and grief does encompass a lot. It can encompass a lot. Um it can encompass the loss of a friend, even if it's
A
not,
friendship. Yeah.
yeah, not through
Mm-hmm.
death, but even through like an argument or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a huge loss, and that can be grief as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to talk about. Now, what are some of the major points of grief that you have reflected on?
Well, a few years ago, I started working with people with terminal diagnosis. So that
Mhm,
puts me in direct contact with people grieving their own lives, their own mortality.
mhm,
And so from that experience, I run a group for folks with late stage cancer diagnosis. And I also work with a handful of individuals. And I get so much from that work.
mhm.
I think a true joy of life comes with acknowledging grief and sorrow in the end of it. I really believe that they're interconnected.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh
But
no, it 100% does. But it sounds like very, well, I don't want to say disheartening. That's not quite the right word, but it does sound like very heavy work. How are you finding that
it's so
as a
interesting
person?
because that's what people say.
Yeah.
But yes, there's heavy times in it, but there's also like a true love of life
Mm-hmm.
in it. I mean, to acknowledge that it ends is to acknowledge I really enjoy being here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's funny. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Marie. It's like, yes, there's heaviness, but there's so much joy in it. And it's also such a connection to our common humanity. It's
Mm-hmm.
something we're all going to have to do someday. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't talk about it. And I think by not talking about it, it creates isolation, certainly for folks that are living the dying part of lives. They don't feel like they can talk about it with people. It's too activating to other one. And it's very isolating. I really feel very passionately about building a grief culture and teaching people how to identify, tend to, and be with their grief, not in just a heavy way, but as a valuable life asset that connects them to the joy of living.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wonderful way to see it. Well, thank you so much, Kara, for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, getting to know you better, and to learn more from you as well about co-parenting. So if our listeners want to find out more about you and what you do, where can they go?
Come to Instagram, Kara Hoppe, and my website, karahoppe.com.
Amazing. We'll link those in the show notes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next episode.
You've been listening to Raising Parents, the Parenting Science Insights podcast, produced by the Parenting Science Labs, a division of LMSL, the Life Management Science Labs. More episodes are available from 10 life management perspectives and can be found by searching LMSL on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting apps available on your devices. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider rating our show, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel, as it helps other people find it so that we can grow and bring you more quality resources. More of our work can be found on our website at pa.lmsl.net, where you can join our movement. I'm Dina Sargent. Thanks for tuning in.